Are we truly in control of our happiness? Grief, death, pain, and contention frequently come to interrupt our life. Loss of trust and respect often ends in discord and confusion. The world of grudges, lies, and bitterness sticks strongly to the grave for many. An excerpt from page 32 of A Better Way to Smile by Eric Bruce Smith. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the review of A Better Way to Smile by Eric Bruce Smith. I've been following Eric writing for many years now, and I've read one of his books that I have a copy here with me titled The Hidden Peace in Poems that I think I reviewed on the channel several years ago. And I'm quite excited when I heard that Eric got a new book released, and I was like, interesting. I'm gonna jump into it. And here comes A Better Way to Smile by Eric Bruce Smith. And from what I've read of Eric in time past, is an amazing poet. He's a philosophical poet. His poems are mostly centered on quite a lot of themes that pertain to human condition. And that's one thing actually that I experienced again while I read through his new release titled A Better Way to Smile. The book, it's actually divided into two sessions. I have the first part and the second part. The first part is, touch on different sort of themes relating to that of pain, to that of hope, to that of, quite a lot of life issues and condition, while the second part is wholly connected to the themes of love. And before I go on to my review, I'd love to read to you the synopsis at the back page of the book. A mixture of poems in this collection speaks to the heart and will meet you right where you are. Just as I write to free my soul, I think that's the author speaking here, others may laugh and smile to keep their sanity. Many souls find that the only way to evolve through the human experience is to have a way to release and restore. Having a better way to smile, it's simply learning to overcome your burdens while conquering your trials. A smile that has endured many pitfalls has lived enough to appreciate the journey. That kind of spirit won't be easily discouraged. They stand through storms that would wipe most people away. When I look into the eyes of a strong spirit, I can see the peace in their soundness and laughter. I can see their wholesome, genuine soul ascending. I can see when someone is truly living their life and not just existing. Picking up from what Eric wrote here in Synopsis, it's quite awesome. And this is one of the things you would look forward to, picking up a better way to smile. And I think we as human beings, we've had quite a lot of experience, most of which bring tears, most of which, bring about sorrows and all of that. And a better way to smile, I would say, so much speaks to me. It addresses much of the issues that we human beings are currently passing through. That's why I mentioned in my written review that it's quite humanistic and it's human centered, like it's human oriented. It's a poem that is absolutely centered on the human condition. And just like Eric said here, many souls find that the only way to evolve through the human experience is to have the way to release and restore. Having a better way to smile is simply learning to overcome your burden while conquering your trials. And it might be a bit hard actually for some people to find a better way to smile in amidst of storm, a better way to smile amidst of failures, a better way to smile amidst dejection, amidst discouragement, and all of that. Smile that has endured many pitfalls, has lived enough to appreciate the journey. I'll say that again. A smile that has endured many pitfalls, many obstacles, many pain, many trials, many tribulations, many hard issues of life, has lived enough actually to appreciate the journey. And that kind of spirit won't be easily discouraged. I mean, from this little illustration and synopsis, actually, I haven't started my review anyway, but from this little illustration, and I think this is my first time reading the synopsis, from this little illustration, I can tell because this is very relatable. I mean, the kind of spirit, that kind of spirit actually won't be easily discouraged. A spirit that is, receptive. And it's more as if you're being a stoic, so you're unaffected with pain. You're unaffected by human sorrow. You're unaffected when some things happen to you. And why some people would expect you to start crying, but you develop this positive energy, positive feeling, and that might even cause some people to say, "You're still laughing despite that you failed." I mean, you're still making jokes despite that you've actually this kind of experiences. These are the kind of spirit that won't be easily discouraged, and I think this is kind of personality or trait that the author is referring to here. And again, it goes on to say they stand through storms that would wipe most people away, and that's very true. They stand. Such kind of smile, such kind of people that exhibit this sort of smile would stand, unshaken, would stand firmly through storms that would easily wipe most people away. Wow, I love this part. When I look into the eyes of a strong spirit, I can see the peace in their sadness and laughter. I can see the wholesome, genuine soul ascending. I can see when someone is truly living their life and not just existing. That's about the synopsis. I never knew actually that I'm gonna take that long with the synopsis. So let me go into my review. My review of this book, it's actually gonna be a spoiler free. I'll be talking too much about it. And I love the fact that it's my first poetry book to be reviewed this year. We're in February, and this is my first poetry book to be reviewed this year. And like I mentioned, I've been following Eric writing for quite a lot of while. I've read his first book, The Eden Piece and Poem, which was published, I think, last year or some years back. And picking up this was actually very amazing to me. As a poet myself, as a poet who love to write about the human condition as well, things about the themes of pain, about lamentation, about the human condition, about quite a lot of things, picking up a better way to smile, speaks so well to me. It addresses most of the experiences that I myself personally have been through. It is very relatable and it is very philosophical, and that's something that I need to praise about Eric Brooksmith's writing style. I love his approach to poetry. Most of the poems that you're going to find in this book are written in a free verse poetry version that doesn't have to, find some rhythm or some rhyme, etc. Writing this in free verse is quite relatable to me actually in many ways. Number one, in terms of poetry features. Number two, in terms of the quality of the poem itself. And number three, in terms of me actually being a writer also in free verse. Because I've come to think of it that there's some poetry, but there's some poems that its meaning would change actually if we're trying to make it rhymes, if you're trying to make it, go with the qualities of poetry like alliteration, like reading, like rhyme, like meters, etc. So writing it in free verse, I think to me, is the most easiest form of expression for the poet in here or for the narrator. So to pick up from the poem itself, like I said, I won't be talking too much about it. But there's so many poems in this book that stuck with me. There's so many poems in this book that addresses the things that I've been to personally. Reading through this got me reminiscent, got me remembering that experience. I was like, oh wow, this is an amazing one. This is very comforting. This is very intriguing, actually. This is very amazing. And I was like, this speaks to me. I mean, it is very timely, actually, to find a poem or to find a writing that speaks of hope, that speaks of encouragement, that speaks of motivation, that speaks of inspiration, because this is what we need as humans to thrive, to survive in the craziness that is happening in the world today. While I continue, I would love to urge you to find or to check out my written review of the book in the discussion part of this video, while I'm gonna have to, of course, go with my video review. So in chapter one, Eric talks about different themes. We have the source keeper, we have a better way to smile, which is a tutorial poem itself. and which also to me touch on the theme of hope, encouragement, even in face of adversity and quite a lot of things. And we have another one titled The Giver, and we have Living for Today, What Mama Says, My Story Shines, Savaging Happiness, which is one of my favorite poems actually in the collection. And the excerpt that I read in the introduction part of this video review is taken from the poem Savage and Happiness, that's in page 32. And I love the sort or the level of questions that Eric asked in Savage and Happiness. His questions here are quite philosophical, and that's one thing that I can generally say about the writing, about A Better Way to Smile. In here, you would find a theme of philosophy, you would find a theme of wisdom, you would find words that are quite proverbial, you will find words that are quite, more like an advice actually, things that give you inspiration, things that give you advice, that teach you better on how to address some certain conditions of life and, give you more experience, a grounded experience of how to navigate this space called world, this space called life, this experience called the human experience and all of that. And like I mentioned in my written review, as a poet myself, I had to use my knowledge in philosophy to be able to interpret uh, the poems in Savage and Happiness, and again, one of the poems in Sarcastic Pain, which was a bit of sarcasm, but then reality, and then how we should react to pain when they come on our way. And I love the sort of questions contained in a poem titled Who from page 38. The poem Who took the style of a curious narrator who's trying to ask different sort of questions about who would be responsible or who is liable, who is capable of fixing the trouble, the mystery that we have in our world today. And to come to the poem titled Hope, in Hope, I love the way Eric disintegrates, break down and rearrange the divination, the meaning of hope. He gave his own point of view for the things of hope in an amazing, in a distinct, and in the most compelling manner to me. And I'm currently working on a book and the theme of hope. And while I read it, I was like, this really speaks to me in person. This is amazingly written. And the fact that, Eric could differentiate how most people behave or react and even blame God when their hope fails in life, it's very powerful and, touch on the human condition. And again, I like the fact that in here, Eric mentioned that do not allow anyone to talk down your hope. Do not allow anyone to talk down hope to your face or, make you feel less of hope, take away hope from you. Because when hope is taken away from human being, all we have left is mystery. That's why you have people who would, take their own life, who would commit suicide because there is no hope to back up the current, perhaps, negative experiences that are currently passing through, or the current challenges and difficulties that they're experiencing as humans. And this is actually very amazing and very pulling to me. So from Hope, Eric goes through the poem titled The Altar. And like I said, I won't be talking too much about this. I'm just going to be taking a few poems, explain a bit about it, and call it a day for my review today. Coming back to the poem titled The Author speaks so much to me. In some of my writing, and this is something that I love about Eric Bruce Smith's writing, is the fact that I can relate to most of the things they talk about. Because I also have a poem in one of my Escape from the Sin Dungeon book series titled The Altar, and I think that should be in a cry for mercy, or how the demons live thereabouts, or I saw the light, I can tell particularly. So to see another perspective of someone, of the things contained in the altar, the peace that lies in the altar, the hope that lies in the altar, the relief, the joy, the happiness, and how we can come with all of our burdens, all of our trials, all of our troubles, all of our difficulties, and take it all for a solution on the altar, and take it all for freedom on the altar is something that speaks mightily to me. And I love Eric's definition of all the things of the altar, where people come with bad loads of sin, with bad loads of difficulty, with bad loads of, addiction, with bad loads of their struggles, and come to put everything, laying them on the altar for relief to their troubled soul, for success to their failures, for comfort to their bereavement, for so many things. Goodness, this speaks only to me. And I love the divination of the altar, bringing relief for burdened soul. They move on to sarcastic pain, like I mentioned initially, to angels passing. Angels passing kind of give us an advice that sometimes we might find some people who are angels close to us that we might not know that they're angels. It might be in form of friends, form of neighbors, form of even strangers that comes as that they're angels to us, and we do not know that they're angels. So I like the fact that Eric mentioned here that sometimes we might need spiritual eyes to be able to discern and see that these people are angels and not to even trick them anyhow. And again, I love the fact that even when he mentioned that they're angels, he gave some qualities that some, to be human being who might profess to be angels and again ask for something back. It's an amazing one. I would love to read a part here. You don't see that sparks and flare, but a solid choice, honest, respectable ones that continue to be overlooked. You can see them in plain view, but they are among you. Look for gracefulness and maturity. Focus on the one that keeps their eyes on their goals until it is complete. Always strive to complete any task given. Pay attention to those that always reach for the heart first. Will tend to you with no aging agendas out of concern and ask you for nothing. Chaos never, drama never, jealousy never, enviness never. This they will never do. Look for them that are close. You can see them with spiritual eyes. Open your eyes and adjust your lenses. They are passing. They are passing you every day. And I love this poem titled Ages Passing. In my attempt to keep this review spoiler free, I won't be talking much about it. And I would love to restrict giving more in an attempt to make it spoiler free. But then I'd like you to check out for what Eric has seek to communicate and it's amazingly written poetry collection, A Better Way to Smile. It is quite philosophical, it is proverbial, it is powerfully written. There's quite a lot of proverbs in there, words of advice that even encourages you. And this is something I love about literature. That's something I love about poetry. I love the fact that when I'm reading a poem, I'm not just reading lines and stanzas, but I'm reading to learn. I'm reading to gain some information. I'm reading to be taken aback. I'm reading to have some wisdom after reading, to gain something afterward. And if you're the type that you love works that cause you to move, to think, long after you've read it, then I'm pretty sure you would love to pick up a better way to smile. And surely there's a better way to smile off, despite the happenings of life, to smile, despite the difficulties of the challenges encountered. And there is absolutely a better way to smile. The second section of this poem is wholly connected on the themes of love, but the first section actually to me seems to be my favorite part, and I love it wholeheartedly. And I won't be giving much information away just so I can keep it spoiler free. I love the tones of messages, information, and everything encapsulated in Eric Bruce Smith, A Better Way to Smile. And like I said, it speaks volume wholeheartedly to me. And I've been following his writing, so he's also the author of the Eden Peace and Poem. And if you'd like to get a copy of A Better Way to Smile, I left a link in the description part of this review where you can get a copy directly on Amazon. Eric is also the author of the Eden Peace and Poem. I also left a link in the description part of this video to this as well, and also to my review. I attached it somewhere where you can watch my both written and video review of this as well. So it's an amazing one. I love it wholeheartedly, and I so much recommend this book to lovers of poetry and literature at large. Yeah, thank you so much for watching my short video book recommendation of Eric Brooks Smith, A Better Way to Smile. And I want to urge you, if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, to please click on the subscribe button over there. We are getting close to 10,000 subscribers, and I am so excited. I want to say thank you to everyone who has taken their time to subscribe to the channel, who has watched the videos, who have left comment. I'm so grateful and I thank you for your support of the channel, for your recommendation, for your views, for your likes, for your subscriptions, and I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, I want to say thank you and thank you very much. Yeah, so this is going to be my short take of A Better Way to Smile by Eric Bruce Smith. Thank you very much for watching my video book review of this and see you in my next video. Goodbye.